Football League. Now, here's your host for the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff, Ira Weintraub.
And with that, gentlemen, we're live on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. Ira Weintraub, I'm at home. Steve Clarke is in parts unknown with a beautiful surrounding behind him. And Sam Webb will be joining us momentarily. We also, of course, have our guy, The Miz, inside the M-Den studios. Good morning, everybody. This is our final Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. And don't be so disappointed, Steve. These have been a lot of fun, and we're going to have a lot of fun the next couple hours this morning talking Lions football, talking NFL football. Madison Raleigh will join us in a little bit for our pick segment as well. We've had a lot of fun on these Sundays, but there's something a little bit more special, Steve, about getting together on Saturdays. And generally Saturday mornings. Next week will be Saturday afternoon starting at 3:30, but there's something special about Saturdays together with the crew. And finally, in 6 days from now, we will be together on a Saturday once again.
Well, we're all big one happy family here, and that's just not the hosts that are on the program, but the people who run things behind the scenes, and of course our audience that listens to the Countdown to Kickoff all the way back since I think 2005. So it's been a long time, and the three of us together, we have been together for over 10 years, and it's going to be great to talk about Michigan football again. But right now, Sam Webb is joining us here on the screen. He is decked out in some of the most interesting Lions gear I have ever seen.
That's right.
And
Steve, he can't make up his mind if he's at home or on the road.
It doesn't matter.
It's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, well, we couldn't tell if you were Barry on one side and Billy on the other. It's number 20. It's blue and it's white. And I don't think it matters whether the Lions play at home or on the road.
No, man. I've been waiting. You know, actually, my CJ, my Calvin Johnson jersey is not ready. I was looking for it. I was like, you know what? Let me break out. Let me break out what I was going to break out on Thanksgiving Day right now. So here we go. But you know, this does not mean. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not picking the Lions today. Not to spoiler alert. Ooh, Steve, I like your backdrop, man. That's outstanding, Steve. Wow, man.
In parts unknown.
Do you have a grotto? You got a grotto, Steve?
Let me flip it over. What do you think of that? We had some meals out there
man.
as well.
So if you want to see what we're talking about, you have to go to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or WTK.com/countdown. And we are on video. Of course, we are on the radio on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, the ticket as well. And if you happen to see what the message that was just posted on the screen from our friend Steve, we are Sam, in fact, and I was going to bring this up because there are ties to both the team the Lions are playing today and, of course, us. But we are 6 Tyrone Wheatley days away until the rescheduled start of the Michigan football season and the return of the Saturday Countdown to Kickoff. And, of course, Tyrone has connections to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Southeast Michigan and the University of Michigan.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, as you know, we went with Doug Marrone down to Jacksonville and has been a part of Marrone's success until a couple of years ago. And it's been a kind of a precipitous decline. I won't necessarily tie it to him, you know, to Wheat not being there, but I just, as that being my guy, you know, it's awfully suggestive. I mean, you got Tyrone Wheatley around, you have some success since 2017. You know, I think was it 2017 when Tom Brady did the Tom Brady magic on him and put him out. I think it was 2017. Anyway, all I know is Wheat's not there anymore, and they look like crap. Except in week one when somehow, some way they pulled this miraculous win out. Just see, you know what? Steve Clarke has family in Florida. Did you guys know that? Steve Clarke has family in Florida. And I'm just saying it's awfully fishy that in week one, Gardner Minshew plays like Tom Brady, and then since then, they look like the Jacksonville Jaguars I thought they would look like. I just, again, not saying that something is going on that's fishy, but it's awfully suggestive, kind of like that thing with Tyrone Wheatley.
All right, guys. So the last couple of weeks, we've been off with no Sunday Countdown to Kickoff last Sunday because the Lions, of course, were on bye week. It's been an eventful couple of weeks in the NFL. We talked, Sam and Steve, about the Lions management and coaching staff, et cetera, and how they would survive, or potentially would they not survive a bye week. And obviously they still have, but there is a Quinn gone, Sam, in the NFL, but that's down in Atlanta. Yeah. The Falcons get rid of their head coach and general manager, Bill O'Brien, and here are the Lions sitting there, no changes whatsoever, but a lot of action already starting to take place around the league.
Yeah, you know, it's just a matter of time. Just too much ineptitude down there. Just no competency. You expect from 1 year where you are terrible in defense to do something to be at least marginally better, right? And they look worse. I mean, they are surrendering huge leads, and that's despite having a lot of offensive firepower. I mean, Calvin Ridley has really emerged seemingly as a guy. Julio Jones is Julio Jones, which is one of the curious things to me throughout his career. He hasn't been the guy to find the end zone very much. You know, maybe it's because he commands so much attention, but you got all that firepower. You had some of these games that you should win, and they've been late collapses. And if you're management, ownership, you're looking at this and you're saying, if my team is consistently in position to win games and they are surrendering to epic comebacks, that's not just a talent thing. That's a preparation thing. That's a coaching thing. Why can't we finish out? Why can't we close out games? If that's a persistent theme, then you got to look at your coach, and you got to, in this instance, you got to look at the general manager that kept them on, threw both of them out. And that's what Arthur Blank said. Arthur Blank, is it Blank? I don't know. Blank. You got a blank slate now. And so now start to remake the team all over again. The question is, will Matt Ryan be a part of it?
You're right, Sam. I mean, it's trade bait as a possible topic of conversation. And what team could he go to? Could he go to the Dallas Cowboys? I don't think so, because I think over the last week, I think it's being shown that Dallas is still committed to Dak Prescott. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be the short term or the long term because of his free agency status that's coming up. But, you see a couple of coaches being fired already at Atlanta and it's Houston, and you wonder why not the Lions. I mean, I understand Lions fans want their pound of flesh, but to me, there's no quick rush to do this because, quite frankly, the only two candidates out there right now for the Lions are Bill O'Brien and Bob Quinn. Why hire? So wait till things sort out. Wait till things come towards the end of the season and try to figure things out. And meanwhile, if the operations are that bad and you don't think the Lions are going to be a playoff team, then you might as well wait and get a top 10 draft pick.
I agree.
So guys, here we stand now as we come out of the bye week. And a couple weeks ago, I asked you guys a question, an over/under question. Sam, you and I have talked a lot about this number, asking about how many games would be impacted in the NFL by COVID. And I said, I put that number on the show a couple weeks ago at 6. And as soon as I said it, I knew that the number was going to be low. And here we are a couple weeks later, and wow, it's games getting shuffled. And it seems like just 2 games in a row with a bye week in the middle, but 2 games in a row where the Lions had an opponent. Their opponent had an issue going into or at some point over the weekend. The Jaguars with was it a practice squad player? So there are. It seems like every week we're going to have these storylines. And when I said 6, I probably should have said 10, and maybe I should have said 20. But here we are now, and that's obviously a topic of conversation every week in the league.
Yeah, the Lions' next 2 opponents, the Falcons and the Colts had test results that returned positive. So this is a fact of life in the NFL that you got to get ready for. The thing that is most interesting to me is not the number of teams impacted by COVID. That was predictable. We've been saying that from the onset, even with the advent of widespread rapid testing. But what's curious to me, Nick Saban gets a positive COVID test and then 3 consecutive negative tests. And that's not the only thing. And this is not calling out Alabama, but it's also pointing out that the Colts, who the Lions play in a couple of weeks, right? They had 4 positive tests, and upon retesting, they were all proven to be false positives. As a person who has experienced that false positive thing, I think Nick Saban had a false positive. Guys, this is going to be an issue when college football, I know we aren't to the college football season, to the Big Ten season yet, but this is going to be a big deal when you do these rapid tests on game day. I think the false positives are going to take some guys out. I think we have to brace ourselves for that and be understanding of that, because it's the consequence of testing that is not fully refined. It's not as accurate as the PCR test. Maybe with time that testing procedure will be, but for now you err on the side of caution and realize you're going to have some possibly COVID negative people missing games. But that's better, Steve, than COVID positive people making it in the games, which is why we got to live with these false positives that seem to be, when the Lions played the Saints last week, there was a couple weeks ago, there was a false positive in that. So this is a thing, guys, that, again, you talk about be ready for what you should expect. Be ready for a lot more false positives as we get deeper into this, especially the Big Ten season
there's going to be some isolated cases of that. When you see a whole team come down with it, or 20 guys, then you're probably not dealing with a false positive there. But Sam, I understand your point, and I completely agree with it. I'm going to talk about the other end of this spectrum, which I've kind of noticed over the last couple of weeks, is these long delays of having somebody go positive and then everybody's negative for a while until someone else on the team picks it up again. We've seen this in New England. We've seen this in other places. And kind of the general feeling is we'll open up the practice facility if we have no negatives after 48 hours. I think we're starting to learn that's not long enough. We're seeing, a player or two get it and then nothing until 5 days later when some other staff member or some other player, and they're getting it from the same tree. It's from the same vine, but it's 5 days. And that is a problem with the NFL. The one good thing is, I've never been a fan of Thursday night football games. I just don't like the idea. It's just too short in preparation. They're doing it, for the ratings and TV. But I think in a way, having games 4 days away has kind of saved this, because you can now prove that you can delay a team and have them play as late on Wednesday and have them play again on Sunday the next week. If there was no such thing as Thursday night football, I think it would be a big uproar about trying to attempt to do that because it just would seem too short. But because of Thursday night football, and it's been going on for years, teams have been able to play on 3 days rest. And that's probably what's going to happen in the future with these Tuesday games, and potentially as late as Wednesday they could possibly do it. It's going to be unfair for some of those other teams not affected by COVID that they get a short rest.
Right.
And all of that. But you know what? These are just little semantical things because you're really just trying to get through.
Shoot.
Yeah, trying to play the game. Yep.
I was like, man, teams are going to be at a disadvantage. And then the Titans come out and beat not my Bills, but beat the Bills. I'm like, okay, well, hey, maybe I was making too much of the, and the Titans, you wanted them to pay the price, right? Because the word is that they were flouting the rules. So if anyone is going to be penalized by short time, you wanted it to be them, but here they are, the shortest prep of them all, be it with the facility lockdown, and they come in and pull the upset of the NFL season thus far, but except for the Jacksonville Jaguars winning in week 1. I'm just saying.
So, guys, obviously that's the dominant conversation throughout the season is how it's going to impact everything. But there was one thing that happened last week on NFL Sunday that has to be, I'm not sure it'll be topped as the coolest moment of the season. And it happened to a guy in a loss. But the return of Alex Smith to the football field was absolutely remarkable. He takes the field for Washington. They had to go to him as the third quarterback that they played this season. Haskins gets pulled. Haskins then was sick last week, and they had Allen was the quarterback. He got hurt. But to see him go in and even to see him take hits, it was remarkable, Steve.
I saw the E60 documentary that came out earlier this summer, and I was really moved by it. I mean, seriously, I was moved by the whole thing, the whole process. That he's alive is almost kind of surprising. That after something like that, the first thing you want to do is get back on the football field, and the amount of work and the odds so against you in your favor ever to make it back. And there he went, and he did. I mean, the guy could have been a Spartan, and I would have rooted for him. I mean, it was just, one of those things. And to see that he actually, as a third-string quarterback, actually got some meaningful playing time is, again, yet amazing.
Yeah, it was. Look, you weren't celebrating his performance because he didn't, and they didn't look good. But just to see him out there, I'm right there with you guys. A fantastic story, considering the horrific injury he suffered. And guys, just as gruesome injuries go, the Redskins the Washington football team can be, they're a franchise that has seen horrific injuries to a quarterback, going back to Joe Theismann getting his leg, really, really mangled by Lawrence Taylor. But I mean, you look at over the years and see guys who you wonder if they're ever going to walk again, let alone play. And every time they take the field, it does a thing for. It transcends any sort of fan affiliation or any competition. You just want to see that guy do well. Now, that's not to say that the Rams took it easy on him. I mean, the very first sack for the Rams, you had Aaron Donald jumping on Alex Smith's back. And I wonder if in that moment, though, Alex Smith was like, all right, I'm back, because he carried him for like 2-3 yards with big Aaron Donald on his back. I wonder if that made my knee. My leg is going to hold up in a weird sort of way. Not that you want to get hit by Aaron Donald, but maybe it gave him a little faith, a little confidence that he can get back to playing at a decent level.
Yeah, it was really fun to see that. Obviously, not the great result for Washington, but that's secondary. Obviously, we're not Washington fans here on the show. Now here, of course, it's the 1-3 Lions versus the 1-4 Jaguars as we get ready for that game. But on the other side of the break, we are going to get to our last NFL picks segment of the season because, well, we're shifting gears to Saturdays, and we're going to get our Sam versus Steve Saturday pick 'em going next week. But this week, one more week of NFL picks. Madison Rowley will join the conversation. Steve Clarke will probably, with a big smile on his face, go to the break knowing that he has a 3-game lead. Steve has a 34-23 record. Sam and Madison 31-26-3. So we'll get to our pick segment coming up next here on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV.
Clear.
Steve has a grotto. Look at that.
Yeah.
Good morning, hi. Mike.
This is quite the setup.
Good morning,
we were watching Georgia, Alabama on this screen. I don't know. It's like a 60-inch screen or something like that.
Morning, Jamie and Steve. Hello, everybody.
Temperature there, Steve?
Right now, I think it's obviously windy, but that's not the temperature. It is 72.
Okay.
And I'm not in Florida.
Where are you?
Parts unknown.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're live on a stream, guys, so he's in parts unknown.
I got you. Makes sense. Oh, man, it's going to be
Good morning, Gracie. Good morning.
Gracie.
Hey, Grace. Where do you see Grace?
Oh, she's at my parents', and so I just know she's watching.
Oh, okay.
Good morning to my parents, too. Hi.
I got you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if there's any movement with some of these, with some of these teams that are clearly ready to, check it out, check it in as far as the season is concerned, and try to get something for their spare parts. Don't know
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, don't know that you can maneuver like that, because I think the Jets, man, if you're the Jets, aren't you making a play for Trevor Lawrence? I mean, what did the guy have, like 700 yards passing yesterday? Something ridiculous.
I think that was even after the first quarter, Sam.
I was telling my friend, I said it was 72. And he goes, yeah, it's Clemson. And I said, no, 52 in the first half, that's a big deal. I don't care who you're playing. Then I find out Trevor Lawrence set a school record, with the number of points he put up in the first half and margin of victory over an ACC opponent. So it was a big deal.
It was a huge deal, man. So, and then watching last night, thinking Florida State was dead and buried, and North Carolina, North Carolina had plenty of opportunities, even after they got down 24 points.
They had chances.
They had chances.
That's at a time where you actually want to wear a mask, when you lose like that? Get me the full body mask to wear, would you please?
Yeah, now you guys know I will not make fun of him, but isn't it like sort of a little? There's at least a touch of irony, even more so now than it was before, with our good friend Dan Mullen. I'm just saying, the guy who wanted to pack his stance had his team have an outbreak, and now look who has COVID. I wonder if it's not just. See, I think this whole backtracking was due to the criticism, not a real and true epiphany. He didn't
We're back in 1 minute.
Error in my ways.
1 minute.
You wonder if that's different now that he has COVID himself.
Yeah, we'll see.
Poor Dan.
Insert the SpongeBob meme.
Poor Ron English has to work for them.
Insert the SpongeBob meme.
I got to get my pay that man his money ready.
Pay that man his money.
That's right. Eddie KGB.
Morning, Madison.
Good morning, boys.
Hey, Madison.
How you doing?
Doing all right. Have it.
All right. 10 seconds, gentlemen.
Standing by.
And lady.
That's me and his money.
I'm ready.
It's me and his money.
Sam has his own drops. He built the computer.
He's also got lion roars as well, too.
I do. I got to find my lion roar.
Oh, do you have a robe?
Yeah, that's right. But Madison isn't wearing her leopard skin print today, so it doesn't.
Nice.
He's wearing your hat.
Here we go. We're back live on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. Ira Weintraub, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke. We're now joined by Madison Drowley as we get into our pick segment this week. It's the final Sunday pick segments of the season as we shift our gears, of course, next week to the Saturday Countdown to Kickoff, where Sam, Steve, and I rightfully belong. Right now, Steve Clarke has a 3-game lead over Sam and Madison heading into this segment with a 34-23-3 record. Madison and Sam are both 31-26-3. And before we start our pick segment, let me just, for the record, put it out there for my crew that the lines this week came from William Hill in Las Vegas. I got the opening lines, and they are updated as of about 30 minutes ago. And so if you have any questions or problems with the lines, call William Hill in Las Vegas. They know what they're talking about. So let's go through and start with these early games. Baltimore at Philadelphia. Steve Clarke, Philadelphia getting 10 points at home.
So Carson Wentz has an NFL league-leading 9 interceptions. And so I got to ask, what's the bigger number in this one? Carson Wentz's interceptions or Lamar Jackson's touchdowns in this one? Give me Baltimore in this pick, Sam.
Yeah, look, I can't imagine that the Philadelphia Eagles aren't still scarred from week 1 where they gave up 8 sacks. And I had to look it up to see how many times they got sacked by Blitzburg, another 5 sacks to them. And Ira knows this well, being the Ravens fan. Ravens get after it. The Ravens bring the heat. The Ravens, by at last check, they were leading the league in sacks. Or second in the league in sacks with 16, 7 by defensive back. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about how much they blitz too? Just like I talked about with Pittsburgh. So this is a team that's really going to be able to get after it. If Blitzburg was able to hit them 5 times, you're going to see, I think, the Ravens be able to do the same thing. A lot of pressure. I think the Ravens are going to cover easy. And here's the other thing. You got the Philadelphia Eagles running a lot of man defense out there. You can't do that against Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much zone they have in their repertoire. I just know, looking at the stats, 58% of the time in man coverage, that is their staple. It's the most in the league. That gets them done in by the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, big today.
All right, Madison, what say you? We have the birds at the birds. We have purple on one side. We have green on the other side. How are we going with this one?
Well,
Philadelphia getting 10 points at home.
10 points now.
Yeah, it's up to 10.
Okay, so do you see why your fake Ira's spreads are confusing to me? Because
these are
what you
literally
give
from
us-
William Hill, and they have been updated all week.
No,
and
you have not sent me the updated one.
No, I sent you lines on Friday, and I just told you just now. Did I not just say this, guys?
But
The
how am
lines
I
were updated
supposed to
30
make my
minutes
picks
ago.
effectively?
Well, Sam and Steve figured it out pretty easily.
What
Must be a
Madison
Sparty
is,
thing. Must be a
what
Sparty
Ma-
thing, guys.
What Madison is trying to say is when the point spread goes 5 points in a couple of days,
Right.
he's like, I made my pick based on when it was that. That's what he's trying to say.
You can't ask me to switch things up last minute like that.
You got to adjust on the fly, though. That's how we roll here.
Yeah, well, Ira's spreads, I don't know about those anyway, but I'll go with Baltimore this week, just for Ira.
All right, so I'm going to make Steve pick first in all these to give the other two of you guys a chance in this.
Yeah,
Get your
yeah.
3 back. All right, so we've got Chicago at Carolina. Carolina is giving a 1.5 at home to the Bears. So Carolina minus 1.5 at home to the Bears at 1 o'clock. Steve Clarke.
Yep, that changes things. So the Panthers are on their route, whatever country you're from. They're on pace to have the highest scoring offense in franchise history. And they're doing it without Christian McCaffrey. Who needs him? Well, they do, but he'll be back next week. In the meantime, still not sold on Chicago. Give me Carolina.
Great.
Sam Webb.
Give me the Chicago Bears. You'll never hear me say that lovingly, but for the purposes of this competition, look, I acknowledge Teddy Bridgewater is killing it for Carolina. I think he is over 70% as a passer. I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it's second in the National Football League. He is getting it done. But man, Khalil Mack, did you guys see the ragdolling of Tristan Wirfs? I know you saw it, Steve. You see anything with an Iowa guy, right? But did you see the ragdolling of Tristan Wirfs? And that was after the sack. I mean, that's insult to injury. You bend the corner, you beat the guy for a sack, and then you toss a 350-pounder to the ground.
He did.
Like he's not there. This dude is like He-Man playing defensive end for the Chicago Bears, and Teddy Bridgewater might be playing well, but he's not a scrambler. Give me the Chicago Bears in this game. I'm going to catch Steve Clarke by 1 game with this one.
Madison, Chicago, Carolina. Carolina is giving a 1.5 to the Bears. So Carolina minus 1.5 at 1 o'clock today.
I know it seems like I always pick based on colors or animals or whatever, but I actually have been doing research on this. That's why I'm a little upset that the spreads keep changing, but I'm going with Carolina Panthers on this one.
You do know that's how it works in Vegas, right? The lines change on a daily basis based on.
But that's not my life. I don't do that.
It's Steve Clarke. Cincinnati at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a 7.5 point favorite at home to the Bengals at 1 o'clock. Who do you have?
Let's see if they can score 7.5 points in a game. I mean, Phillip Rivers right now, 4 straight games without 250 yards plus or multi-touchdown passes. He's not playing well. We'll be going into a topic about aging quarterbacks, I think, later on in the program, Ira. But the thing is, I don't think the Bengals can move against the Indianapolis Colts defense, which is a true NFL caliber, really, really good. Because it's 7.5, I'm going with the Colts.
Doggone it. That's where I was going with this pick.
You guys can do this, have the same opinion, right?
But I'm trying to catch him. I need opposite opinions. We have the same opinion and we both lose, then that doesn't help me. Can Joey Burrow mount, an offensive assault on this team? He did hear from AJ Green, got a vote of confidence from AJ Green earlier this week, said, I want to stay in Cincinnati. He believes in his young quarterback. That's not enough for me. I got to go with Indianapolis as well.
Madison, what say you? Indianapolis, and you always have to pick the Colts apparently because that's your fantasy squad. They're giving 7.5 points to the Bengals.
Yeah, I took the Colts today.
That's a pattern for Madison. You put a lot of faith in your fantasy team on the Colts, and that's
no, it's just wishful thinking mostly when it comes to my fantasy team, especially.
All right, guys and gal. Atlanta at Minnesota. Minnesota is a 4-point favorite at home to the Falcons. Steve Clarke, who do you have?
Well, the winner of the Who Cares Bowl is one that people that won't be watching today. Minnesota 1-4, but I tell you what, 2 of those losses were 1-point losses against Seattle and Tennessee. 2 of the 4 unbeaten teams left in the NFL. Might suggest that the Vikings aren't that bad. But what keeps this interesting is that Dalvin Cook is not likely to be playing in this game. Makes it tough, but I'm going to take Minnesota and the spread.
Yeah, me too. I just, I can't, as much as I am disappointed in the Minnesota Vikings and the defense not living up to what I thought it was going to be this year. I mean, you guys know I was bullish on them. I had them winning the division. I like the Yannick Ngakoue pickup. I felt like with pairing him with Danielle Hunter, they were going to be the most imposing tandem in the league. And then on the other side of the ball, I didn't think they were going to miss Stephon Diggs as much as they've missed Stephon Diggs. But you learn something about a team in adversity. It says something to me how tight, how closely they played the Seattle Seahawks, who I think will be a team to be reckoned with in the Super Bowl picture. With the way that the quarterback. Why am I forgetting his name? I'm forgetting the quarterback's name for Seattle Seahawks. Help me out, fellas.
Russell Wilson.
Wilson, yes. With the way that Russell Wilson is playing right now. But at this point, you look at the other side and you see that the other team, Atlanta, plays no defense. They don't even practice defense. Atlanta is the Big 12 defense of the NFL, and that's saying something when you're talking about the Lions over here. Both teams are from the Big 12. Let's just put it that way. And you pair these two teams up. Which team is going to play at least some defense? The Minnesota Vikings. I got to go with them in this game in the battle of, as Steve Clarke said, the battle of who cares. I think the Minnesota Vikings care more.
For the record, the battle of who cares is the next game we're going to pick. But Atlanta at Minnesota, Madison, Minnesota giving 4 points at home.
You guys both pick Minnesota, right?
Correct.
So, all right, I'll pick Atlanta then. Why not?
The contrarian method. Ed Fang would be proud. All right, this is the true battle of no one cares. Washington at the New York Giants. This line moved to the Giants being a 2.5-point favorite at home. I don't know how you even put a line on this game. That game is at 1 o'clock, Steve Clarke.
In the mid-'80s, early '90s, these were the two teams to watch in the NFL. They defined greatness in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Now, when these two teams play, I used to feel sorry for the security guards who could never watch the game behind them. I mean, they'd be on the field and they have to spend the entire game looking at the stands and scanning. I think teams at Washington and at the Meadowlands enjoy their jobs now that they don't have to look at what's going on behind them. On one hand, you've got a New York quarterback who can't handle pressure and turns the ball over a bunch. And on the other hand, you got Kyle Allen, who just hopes to make it through the game. But Alex Smith doesn't have to play. Daniel Jones leads the team in rushing. Need I say more? Their quarterback leads the New York Giants in rushing right now. The defense, I think, is going to score more than the offense in this one. But believe it or not, I got to take the Giants and Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, you know what? Jabril's my guy. I'm supposed to do a Zoom with him later on this week for game week. That's the only reason why I'm picking the Giants. Because if I got to sit down with the guy on Friday and I just picked against him, I'm not going to go Steve Clarke on him and act like he wasn't a big time guy for Michigan when he was here. I'm going to show him some respect and say I'm going to go with the Giants in this game, even though Jabril Peppers has nothing to do with protection. And the Washington Redskins, if they can't do anything else, they can get heat on the quarterback. But I'm going to go with Jabril in this game and pick the Giants.
I thought Sam was a journalist. He's misquoting me all the time.
That's okay. And Sam, that's Washington football team. No, Washington football team.
I got you.
Madison, the Giants are 2.5-point favorites at home to the football team.
2.5, so it changed again.
This one changed to 2.5, yes. As of this morning.
Come on, man. We need to go with the 3-point spread. We need to go with the 3-point spread. We got to go with the last spread that you sent us.
That's what I'm trying to say, Sam. We agree again. It must be Sunday.
2 weeks ago, I did that. I get in trouble. This week, I go with the updated lines as of the morning. I get in trouble for that. It's not really going to matter. Steve's still going to win. So I'm not sure really why this matters. But
Thank you, Ira.
What are we?
Pick it on 3. Pick it on 2.5. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter.
And I don't really care either. Washington.
Wait. I got to catch Steve. Jabril, I'm sorry, man. This is not about you. It's about your offensive line.
Oh, so you're going with Chase Young and Dwayne Haskins. So you're showing your affinity for those guys.
I want to win, damn it. I want to win. I love Jabril. I want to win. So let me switch my pick
to the football team?
I'm going to take Washington in this game.
All right, Madison, what say you?
You switch picks. Come on. I already picked Washington.
All right, Steve Clarke, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. This turned into a pretty good game. This is a game. We talk about games that had lines that moved a lot. This one actually moved a lot. It didn't move as of today, but it's Pittsburgh as a 3.5-point favorite over Cleveland. Pittsburgh is at home. Who do you have, Steelers or Browns?
This is the toughest call of the week for me. I mean, you're looking at Cleveland, who is trying to go for their first 5-game winning streak since 1994. You got OBJ returning, but Nick Chubb not playing. And I asked myself, how long is it going to take for me to give respect to Cleveland at this point? Can I actually pick them? They've beaten the spread in their last 3 games. The Steelers have beaten the spread in 3 of their last 4. Pittsburgh, flip a coin. Going with Pittsburgh.
See, if this was a true flip of the coin, I would go against the grain, against the Steve Clarke grain. But I just don't think this one is going to be. I don't think this one is going to be the game that people expect it to be. And how tight it'll be a good game, but I think that you're going to see the Pittsburgh Steelers win this by at least a touchdown. And here's why. You look at this Pittsburgh Steeler defense, and the pressure that they bring is unrelenting. I don't know their blitz rate, but all I know is they play 4 games and they got 20 sacks. They lead the league with sacks in 4 games. It is just a dizzying pace that they are on, but you can afford to gamble some defensively when offensively you know you're going to put up points. Now, their defense hasn't been put in a position to give up a ton of points yet. But offensively, these aren't your Bill Cowher, early days Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers. What they do offensively, I mean, look around the league. Look at what they do with the Kansas City Chiefs and how we marvel at all the creative things that they do. And I'm telling you guys, I watched that game last week. I watched how Chase Claypool went off and all the things that they did. It's not like Ben Roethlisberger went through the progressions and found Chase Claypool. They isolated him. He was the number 1 option on 2 of those touchdowns. One, they had no backs on the field, had him lined up as a tight end and ran a clear out. He had the middle of the field on a linebacker. That scheme and the scheming offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers is on a different level now. You're going to see the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game by at least a touchdown today. This team is quickly moving up my list. Who's going to be the biggest challenger to the Kansas City Chiefs? Ira, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm starting to think it's going to be those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Buying the hype. All right, Madison, who do you have? Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a 3.5-point favorite.
Man, that was a lot, Sam. I'm going to go. You're like making me second guess myself now, too. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
All right, we've got Denver at New England in a 9.5-point line. Steve Clarke, New England obviously at home is a 9.5-point favorite.
I think this simply comes down to whether Cam Newton plays or not. And all expectations is that he will. I mean, the line is tight because New England's also down a couple of offensive line starters. And the Broncos, haven't been affected this week by COVID-19. The other thing, though, is Melvin Gordon, though, is not going to play for the Broncos, not going to be active. He's got some sort of potential strep throat. For some reason, it's easier to test for COVID now than it is for strep throat because they're not revealing whether he has strep throat or not. Further test pending. Stephon Gilmore is expected to play on Thursday. I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention no Noah Fant. I mean, that's kind of, I thought it was an automatic. You have to mention Iowa things.
I did too. But par for the course with Steve Clarke. Shout out to Detroit Cast Techs, PSL champs. He didn't mention Mike Onwenu. Big Mike, you're my guy. I would have picked, I don't care if Cam Newton plays. As long as Big Mike plays and is laying the pancakes, they're going to win this game. I'm not going to disrespect you like Steve Clarke just did. The Patriots, on the strength of the bulldozing of Big Mike Onwenu, at last check, the number 1 ranked offensive guard in the National Football League as a rookie. Big Mike and the Patriots win this game.
Do we have to pay homage to every single Michigan player that's in the NFL? Because if we do, it's going to be a 4-hour show.
Can I get an amen from the comment section? Yes, we got to give praise.
This is a 2-hour show, not a 4-hour show. There's just too many Michigan players in the NFL to talk about every single time. And then if I miss one, you got to call me out.
He's only the number 1 rated guard in the league.
Sam, you're setting a precedent. We're about to go to Madison, and she's going to make some sort of a Hoyer reference coming up because we're talking about New England.
Yeah, but I don't like New England. Remember? I'll go with Denver. Why not?
Right.
Just because.
One more 1:00 game. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite to Houston at home today.
So this is talent versus rest. And Tennessee absolutely destroyed Buffalo. The problem was it was Tuesday. So will there be any, problem with that? No, it's against Houston. No problem. Take the Titans.
Yeah, they showed me something. You guys know how bullish I am on the Buffalo Bills and the defensive plan they came out with against the Bills last week. On short time to be able to go out and execute. I watched the game and you saw a Tennessee Titans defense that really did a good job of confusing Josh Allen pre-snap. They were rotating coverages at the snap of the ball. Cover, one high safety to cover 2, cover 2 to cover 3 at the snap of the football. To be able to execute that and not bust coverages the way you would expect on short practice time says something to me about how dialed in that team is. Maybe it says something about how they were illegally practicing when they were supposed to be shut down and not congregating. Whatever the case may be, they're if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying kind of team. They're going to be prepared for this game, Steve. I'm with you. Unfortunately, when you look on the other side, you see the Houston Texans just don't have, I think, I don't think that they have the focus at this point. Something in there with a new regime to be able to pull off a game like this. Tennessee Titans rolling. They're going to roll in this game too.
And Madison, what say Houston at Tennessee? Tennessee's giving 3.5 points at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
All right, that's through the 1:00 games today. We still have the 4:00 games, the primetime games, which includes 2 games tomorrow night. And of course, later on in the show, we're going to pick the Detroit at Jacksonville game. So we're going to continue with our pick segment as we continue on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV.
Clear.
All right, I get my Madison roar together. Where are we at?
Just to give you guys an update, Madison, if you get your picks all correct, you now can tie Steve. Sam, you only have 2 games that are different. Just an FYI. Okay. Madison has 3 different picks than Steve if you're playing at home.
So seriously though, guys.
Listening.
Over under on helmet tomahawks in that AFC North matchup.
We're gonna leave those players. They've moved on from that, right? That's what they said in both places.
Well, I mean, is Myles Garrett still on the Browns still?
Yeah, but they said they've moved on. They're above that. What was the line they said?
Sure, they are.
Something about focusing on the game and not. I don't remember. There was some sort of a line. I don't know. Who cares?
They're gonna hug each other.
Cleveland and Pittsburgh can both, what, Sam?
Yeah.
Gotta get it ready.
Yeah, and that does sound like when the Tigers lost under the George Kell, Al Kaline era.
What? That sounds like a very sick lion. Must be getting ready for the game at 1 o'clock. Because that's not how they're going to play.
It also sounds like me when I'm very hungry.
Yeah, we got to get the leopard print back.
I can go get it.
Oh, no. I love this, man. You can do your own drops.
What play was that? What do you got, a Roan? You got a Roan system in front of you, or?
I have a no. So
or is it just on your computer?
It's just on my computer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You just play it from your computer.
They're selling these boxes now, podcast boxes. Your own mixing board plus like 8 presets for sound effects and drops.
Yeah, little touchscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I should do, that's what I should do, is because I am coming through the mixer. So, well, to hell, we got listeners, so I shouldn't be getting all of this, but I could plug one computer in and do all my sound effects and be able to control it. Because the problem is when I cue it up, if a commercial plays, you guys can hear the commercial right now. So I gotta mute myself in order to get to the point where I can actually play, something like Teddy KGB.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
That's
Pay
right.
that man his money.
That's right. Pay Kenny Galladay his money, damn it.
Make sure that we have the all the proper licensing to use all these.
There you go.
Sue me. Oh man. Josh Dillon, what's up, JD?
And our green screen shots too, right?
Yeah. He's blocking the most important part, I think.
Sam's
he's
not on a
good.
green screen. Sam's doing a live remote this morning.
Oh, that's right.
He brought his chair with him and everything.
Yeah, he talked to Brandstatter and got access to
Man,
booth.
my man Mo Williams still lives in Jacksonville. One of the Jacksonville Jaguar linemen of the early 2000s. So,
all right, 30 seconds before we're back on radio.
30 seconds till radio.
Nah, we really would have inside access if we was still here. That's another reason to crap all over the Jaguars.
Yeah, but we like their running back coach or assistant running back coach or whatever his position is.
Denard.
And how can you hate Uncle Rico? I mean, Gardner Minshew. Bet you I could throw over there mountains over there. All right, stand by, guys.
Standing by.
Back on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV. And thanks to everybody watching on Ticket TV and interacting with the show. Shout out to Rod Clarke who messaged in Go Blue with the M emoji right there. Shout out to Josh Dillon, former member of the WTKA and Team USA Number family watching out in California. Vinny, Sam, your guy Vinny down in North Carolina says what's up. So hello to everybody watching and interacting with us on whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter. We appreciate that as well. It's myself. We've got Sam Webb, Steve Clarke, Madison Rally going through our pick segment. And we are continuing here with the 4 o'clock games now. Steve Clarke, the New York Jets against the Miami Dolphins. Miami -9 at 4:05 this afternoon.
So you know when the last time the Jets had a winning season? You know the year on that? 2015. You know who the quarterback was for the Jets?
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
That's the last time the Jets had a winning season and a winning quarterback. Look, Fitzmagic, got a career high passing percentage right now of over 70% in this one. Sam Darnold isn't going to play. This is my survivor pick, which I'm still in. 80% of the field that I am in with has been wiped out. We're now down to about 625 or so. And, this is a decent point spread and one that I'm willing to go with. I'm probably not picking Miami, I don't think, for any other games for the rest of the season. So I'm not only going with Miami on the survivor pool, I'm going in on this pick as well to beat Sam and Madison.
You know what? The New York Jets, they have gone full Sam Hinkie. Now, you NBA fans know who Sam Hinkie is. He was the architect of the Philadelphia 76ers tank plan, right? Well, if you haven't recognized that the Jets are full tank for Trevor, we are there. This is happening. And I predict that you're going to see the New York Jets trade Sam Darnold. They're probably going to get more than what the Cardinals got for Josh Rosen back in the day. And they are going for Trevor Lawrence. And you can't do that if you're going to win games or even make games close. That's why you that's why you cut Le'Veon Bell, right? You feel like you can at least keep games maybe that somewhat respectable, maybe have a shot, maybe get Madison to like you a little bit because you got a spark on your quad. No, they are going to get destroyed in this game. Full tankathon, tanking for Trevor. Take the Miami Dolphins in this game and take them big.
Steve, I like how he references Josh Rosen as in back in the day. That's like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Sam. I'm not sure that's quite back in the day. All right, Madison, the Jets at Miami. Miami giving 9 points to the Jets.
Well, are we picking the spread or are we picking who wins the game?
Oh, we're picking the spread. We always pick the spreads. Steve was giving his survivor pick because he likes to throw that in once a week for people that are looking for some survivor pick advice.
All right. Well, you guys are making me tired today. I'm just going to go with the Jets.
Wow.
Just, you know what? Just because we got to switch it up. This is because look, it's Sam, you and I are going to lose to Steve here. So there's only one way to like try to flip that around, and it's to pick against Steve, basically.
Yeah, and Madison is showing you how it's done because she has picked against Steve 4 times. Sam, you've only picked against Steve twice. So as of right now, you have no chance to tie or pass him. And we're down to the final 5 games, 4 now and 1 later on when we pick the Lions Jaguars game. All right, a game that a lot of people are going to be watching today, a battle of 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady of the Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This line has been all over the place, but now Tampa Bay is getting a point at home at 425.
No, Aaron, you want to go first, Sam?
No. I'm waiting on you.
Okay. By the way, big shout out to a friend of the show, watches every Sunday. Brandon Graham out in Philadelphia. Thanks for watching again. Aaron Rodgers is only the 3rd player since the 1970 merger to have 13 touchdowns and no picks through 5 games this year. Through 4 games. They're playing their 5th game today. I think Green Bay is the team to beat in the NFC right now, and is stocked and as well as Tampa Bay's going to be and probably make the playoffs. I think Green Bay wins this on the road, and I'm taking Green Bay with the points on this one.
Harold Goodwin, Larry Foote, Tom Brady. Tampa Bay is the University of Michigan of the South, and the utter, complete, and total disrespect by Steve Clarke to not even mention those guys. Not only did he pick the Green Bay Packers to come into your house, TB12, and beat you, he didn't even mention the strong Michigan ties on the roster. I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be the turning point, the catapult, the catalyst for their run and their rise in the NFC. And while I respect what Aaron Rodgers has done, I think the thing that really stands out to me about his research, he made the comment a couple of weeks ago, and I agree with him. A down year for me is a career year for other guys. But what has been the key to his rise? You look at the presence of a running game and aggressive play calls on first down. First down play action passing has been outstanding. I don't have stats on it. I just know what my eyes see. And they are a shot team off of play action, and he is doing a fantastic job of that. But you've had some time to prepare. I think that the Buccaneers defense is going to come into its own today and keep him from going crazy. Tampa Bay Buccaneers win this game. Tom Brady with a redemptive performance. He's going to remember downs. You're going to remember downs in this game. I'm going to give you down the distance is TB12 in this game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, Madison, what say you?
Man, Sam talks so much, I forget what Steve picks.
He picked Green Bay.
Okay.
He picked Green Bay.
All right, then, Sam, I'll let you have that. You just picked Tampa Bay, right?
I did.
Okay, I'll let you have this one, then I'll pick Green Bay.
You're never going to pick a Tom Brady team. Madison will never pick a Tom Brady team.
That's also partly true.
Madison has to realize that Sam has a 4-hour show in the morning, so every 2-minute story's got to last a half hour.
All right, we have a primetime game tonight and 2 games tomorrow at 8:20 tonight. The LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco getting 3 points at home. Steve Clarke.
Look, Jimmy G says he's 100% healthy, so I guess the excuses have got to end for San Francisco and their problems. Now, San Francisco looked like a team that was ready to make another Super Bowl appearance, and now they're talking about not even making the playoffs and doing their own little tank job. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Rams are lurking as a top 10 team. I think they're kind of an undersold team at this point. If Philly can win in San Francisco, then I think the Rams should win in San Francisco and beat the spread too. Take the Rams in this one. or Sam, don't.
No, I'm taking the Rams, man. Aaron Donald. You got the combination of the two best guys at their positions, and arguably two guys who are in contention for the best defensive player in the league in Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And anytime we got an opportunity to pump up Jalen Ramsey, Michigan fans need to be doing so, because you want Jalen Ramsey in that big $100 million contract and the versatility that he's shown throughout his career to shine brightly for a certain number 30 here in the maize and blue to make those Michigan references. But yeah, we got the Los Angeles Rams winning big in this game today. At least I do. So I'm taking the Rams.
Madison, the Rams at the Niners. The Niners are getting 3 points at home.
It looks like the playground just picked the Rams, so I'll stick with the playground.
All right, so going with the Rams. All right, Monday night games. We have a doubleheader. Kansas City at Buffalo. Buffalo is now getting 4.5 at home tomorrow at 5:00. Steve Clarke.
How does Buffalo respond to the butt whipping they took in Nashville on Tuesday? How did the Chiefs respond to the loss that they had against the Las Vegas Raiders at home? This is a response game. I'm looking at the stats, though. Chiefs are really good against the spread on Monday night, and Mahomes is undefeated against the spread when playing on Monday night. Although this might be a Monday afternoon game, they might be finding a way to cheat it and still make him undefeated on this one. I'm going to go with Kansas City on the road. I'm going to make Sam happy because I don't think Sam has picked against Buffalo all year. What say you, Mr. Webb?
And you said, so which point spread are we going with?
4.5. Buffalo's getting 4.5 at home.
All right, so we are changing it up, getting more than the
4.5.
That's what. Go look at William Hill. 4.5.
No,
I said it as we let in.
He
William Hill, 4.5.
Kansas City.
So he mentioned that this is a response game, and I agree. And I'm looking at scheme, and I talked about it earlier in the show with Josh Allen. It was troublesome to see how much he struggled with zone coverage, with varying coverages, with pre-snap defensive rotations. Copycat league. No team does a complete and absolute replica of what the team prior to them did, but Josh Allen struggled with that enough for that to be a component in this game. And then you can look at Patrick Mahomes and say the same thing. The difference is, I think that Josh Allen was confused. I think that Pat Mahomes knows the coverage and say, I can throw it. I don't care what you're running. I can throw over 3 deep coverage, which he's done. Tries to force the ball a lot. And I think maybe he'll dial back on that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will win this game, but wait, they'll win it narrowly by 3 points. I'm taking Buffalo. You giving me the 4.5.
All right, Sam giving himself a chance to win now, as you and Madison both have 4 different picks than Steve does. Madison, what did it say you in this one? Kansas City at Buffalo. Buffalo getting 4.5.
Steve picked Kansas City, right?
He did.
All right, and so okay, I'll pick Kansas City then.
I'm switching.
And the last Monday night affair, this of all the games I think that might have the lines that move the most, and this is obviously injury specific, but Arizona at Dallas. Dallas is now getting a point at home. It's an 8:15 Monday night affair tomorrow night. Steve Clarke, Arizona at Dallas tomorrow night.
I think Andy Dalton is a lot better than what people are going to make him out to be. This is not just some second-string quarterback who's on his way out. I think Andy Dalton, with the offensive tools that Dallas provides him, I think he's going to shine in this game against Arizona. I'm picking the Cowboys.
Thanks for the comic relief this morning, Steve.
He's picking the Cowboys?
Yeah, he picked Dallas, yeah.
Did the Cowboys find a defense somewhere that I don't know about? Ira, can you tell me? When did the Dallas Cowboys start playing defense? I mean, I talk about Big 12 defenses in the NFL. This is actually a Big 12 defense in Big 12 country. Yeah, Arizona Cardinals are going to pile up the points today. Take the Cardinals. I don't care about Andy Dalton. I don't care about the emotional lift they get from Dak. The Cardinals are going to win this game, and they're going to win it big. And I'm going to come back when we get to the college picks you're going to say Steve Clarke is going to realize how lucky he was that Gardner Minshew, the 1 week that Gardner Minshew isn't on a Boogie Night set, he goes out and plays the game of his life. But since then, he's spinning, moonlighting, doing other things, and he looks like back to normal. Gardner Minshew doesn't look that good anymore. Steve, you're going to realize that was the sun shining on the dogs behind that day. You got lucky with that pick. You are going to get lucky with this one. Give me the Arizona Cardinals.
And Madison, the last pick goes to you. Arizona at Dallas. Dallas getting a point at home tomorrow night.
I'm not going to go on and on and on like Sam just did. I'll pick Arizona, though.
And that is it for the pick segments. We're going to let Madison go. We'll see Madison late in the show. She'll come back on to pick the Lions-Jaguars game, and we will follow along. It'll be a lot of fun coming on Wednesday when Sam and Steve get back together and their smack talk continues as Steve Clarke brags about winning the picks contest for.
How many picks do we have different? How many picks?
You had 5 different than Steve did, and Madison had 4 different than Steve did. So you've got a chance. But I have a feeling that Steve's going to win this contest. We'll update the final results for the NFL Pick'em contest, the Pro Picks contest coming up on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on the Michigan Insider during the midweek peak. Madison, we'll see you later on in the show. We're going to take a break, get to hour number 2 of the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. We're going to talk Lions and Jags and a whole lot more here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA Ann Arbor Accumulation.
Drink it up, Steve.
Salute you.
Salute.
What you drinking on, Steve?
All right, I got to take him out. See you guys.
Bye, potato.
So is that a new dog for me?
I think this is the first non-alcoholic drink I've had in 48 hours.
Appreciate that about you, man.
First non-alcoholic, you said?
Oh, my gosh.
I was just confirming. Yep, just confirming. Okay, fun.
I got to show you this. I don't know if you can see this on screen or not. Make sure I don't have any information on it.
Yeah, make sure.
Social security number, home address,
Yeah,
PIN
that
number,
kind of thing.
things
Make sure
under all of
it's
them.
work.
Hey, make sure there's no other pictures you don't want anybody seeing.
That's not from a puzzle.
Wow,
Right.
impressive.
He's right.
That is, it's quite a setup here, and I've had quite a bit.
That's good, Steve. Gotta relax, man.
Now the orange juice. Now that's a completely different question right there.
Tangeray. He has some Tangeray in it. I don't know if you knew that.
Really good.
It's a nice combination right there. Tangeray and orange juice.
Rolling down the street. I'm not going to finish the rest because we're still streaming.
Parents,
Good morning, everybody, including my 7-year-old daughter that is watching right now. How are you doing, Gracie?
Sorry.
I just said we're rolling down
Oh,
the
no,
street.
Ms. is fine. And
Drink mints.
I'm trying to figure out, of the 4 people on the screen right now, Ms. might be Gracie's that she wants to say hi to the most. So there you go, Ms.
Miz, man. What do you think about the Saints, Miz?
I think that they are getting a well-deserved bye week this week.
I mean, but
Can't
no,
lose.
what do you think about them, for the rest of the season? I mean,
Oh boy. Can we play the Lions the rest of the season?
right?
Does Drew Brees have to throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field?
You're going to get Mike Thomas back.
Hopefully. I mean, he was supposed to come back last week, but I guess there was some off the field stuff that happened, so that's interesting.
I wonder if they played that up a bit so they could give him another week of rest heading into the bye week.
That's what I'm kind of wondering as well too. But I mean it's week 6. They've played their 5 games already. I think it's still a young season, and knock on wood. Hopefully they keep themselves clean in terms of medical stuff. That's all.
I hear you. All right, man. Well, I can't. At this point, the NFC, I certainly still think that they're a threat, but you're gonna watch and wait and see the rise of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen since that opening week, a Saints team that I think is going to improve enough, improve at the level, at the rate that we're going to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers improve at. I mean, think about it. We saw Tom Brady forget down and distance. That kind of thing isn't going to.
Age makes you do crazy things, Sam.
Yeah.
You are going to see that kind of mental gaffe.
Don't they call that a senior moment?
I think you call it a moment where a guy is still getting used to his surroundings. Still getting used to his surroundings. Still getting used to the offense.
Exactly.
Lost track of down and distance. You're going to see them rise as the season goes on and be the team that we thought they're going to be. I just don't know how much room for improvement there is with your Saints, unfortunately.
Nah, I think a lot of it has to do with just making sure that they stay healthy. But we're coming back on radio here in a moment, gentlemen.
You know what another senior moment is? What's that Seattle quarterback name?
Sam, I got to remember.
It's called the morning hours.
Broadcasting through the MDN studios in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
That's all you got to remember.
This is the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff with Ira Weintraub, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke, and Madison Raleigh. Today, the 1-3 Detroit Lions are back in action in the Sunshine State following their bye week. It's the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. But first, get ready for the game with the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. Presented by Brighton Ford on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. The Ticket. Ann Arbor's home for the Detroit Lions and the National Football League. Now, here's your host for the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff, Ira Weintraub.
All right, back on live on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV. And I've got myself, Sam Webb, and Steve Clarke, the three of us here for another hour talking Lions and NFL football. Also, shout out to everybody that's watching on Ticket TV, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter. Send us a message. We'll interact with you throughout the show or maybe during the commercial breaks as well. You can hang out with us during the commercials if you're watching online. Also, a reminder to go to WTKA.com/countdown for your chance to win a full card detail from our friends at Brighton Ford. So, guys, here we are. After a bye week, the Lions return to action against the 1-4 Jacksonville Jaguars, and I cannot quite recall the one in the 1-4. How did that happen against Steve Clarke?
Well, Sam will tell you all about it. But Jacksonville did beat the Indianapolis Colts, as accurately predicted by myself, Steve Clarke. And since then, Jacksonville has done what Sam thought would happen to Jacksonville in Week 1. They've lost the remaining 4 games after that. In fact, they've lost a lot of games by a lot of points. They have given up a ton of points, 30 points, at least 30 points in each of their last 4 losses. Jacksonville is looking like a sieve. Jacksonville is looking like a team that doesn't have many answers, but a whole lot more questions. And Sam, I'll just smile in your delight because you're still upset over it.
You're damn right I'm still upset over it. It's ridiculous, man. I said it earlier in the show. Your quarterback was an extra in a Boogie Nights film. This guy, how the hell is he getting a team, a quarterbacking a team to the point where he has 1 incompletion? He could have played Val Kilmer's character in Wonderland, if you've ever seen that. Are you picking up the references I'm putting down? Have you seen Boogie Nights? Have you seen Wonderland? If you haven't, Google those movies and tell me that Gardner Minshew couldn't have had a starring role in one of those films. I'm just telling you, that's the guy that had 1 incompletion in Week 1. Now,
I'll just warn you. I saw more than I wanted to see in Boogie Nights.
But you get my point. You get my point. You understand what I'm saying about Gardner Minshew. That's the guy that is giving them some offensive identity down there. He happens to be facing one of those Big 12 defenses that I've been talking about. So he probably will have some success today, but they've been the inconsistent offense that I expected them to be when you ship off your star rusher, a guy that you can really lean on. Look at the other side of the ball. You knew the stopping power wasn't going to be quite the same as many of the big name guys that we saw them have in the past, from Yannick Ngakoue I've talked about a lot, but how about your guy now? Ira Calais Campbell is another Jags cast-off. So you feel like they are settling into that team that we thought they were going to be on both sides of the football, but they're facing a team to get back to their offense. They're facing a Lions defense that gives up over 400 yards and 30 points a game. I mean, for every bad thing I say about the Jags, you can say equally bad things about the Lions.
So Gardner Minshew's got 300, passing yards and 3 in his last 4 games. It's very possible that he'll be able to accomplish that in a game against the Lions with their pass defense. The funny thing is they kind of sort of abandoned their two-dimensional offense. It's been mostly about Minshew passing and not enough about running. And James Robinson's not bad. I mean, he's a rookie from Illinois State. He's projected to be a 1,000-yard rusher if he continues on pace throughout the rest of this year. But, the fans out there in Jacksonville say he needs to get the ball more. Be a little bit more two-dimensional with your offense. For the second straight week, I said they're facing a team that's not very good on defense. Houston was the worst in the NFL in defense against the rush, and they only got 75 yards rushing because they didn't give James Robinson the ball enough. I believe he only had 13 carries in that one. 13 carries, 75 yards, that was it. And because Houston held him to 75, you know who the new team is worst? The new worst team in the NFL against the rush? Our Detroit Lions. And so maybe if Jacksonville has this same game plan where they ignore giving the ball to James Robinson, who is averaging 5 yards a carry, that maybe the Lions could slip behind Houston and give the new worst team Cincinnati against the rush.
So what you guys are both saying is that we may see a lot of coaching malpractice today out there on the football field, coaches getting away from maybe what their teams need to do.
Look, you mention it, and it takes me to one of the thoughts I had entering this game. You have Matt Patricia coming out and saying that they're going to simplify things defensively because they can't do anything well on defense right now, as Steve mentioned. 32nd against the rush in the NFL right now, 5.2 yards a carry, over 170 yards per game. And then I mentioned in the pass defense, 400 yards and 30 points a game. What do you do? How much simpler can you get? I thought, how is it not simple already? The Lions, in case you missed it, when you think about trying to single out what their identity is defensively other than being porous, what do they try to do? They don't blitz. And I don't understand why. Because they play a bunch of man. They play more man coverage than any team in the NFL. So if you're going to play man coverage, but you aren't bringing extra pressure, how do you think it's going to work out, Steve? I mean,
I think the problem is linebacker.
Like, what the hell is this guy? Don Brown that guy is a head football coach in the NFL with that kind of thought process. I'm going to play zone the majority of the game, and I'm not going to blitz to make the quarterback get rid of the football quickly. I'm just going to let him wait all day, sitting in the pocket to beat my rookie corners down the football field. Are you kidding me? Does this make sense to anyone? And how does it get simpler than playing man coverage 60% of the time? See, can you help me out? This is the guy you have coaching the Detroit Lions.
All I can speculate as to why they don't blitz is because they don't have linebackers that can cover in space. And you blitz a linebacker, that makes it twice as bad because you got 3 linebackers across the field that can't keep up with anybody. Now you're down to 2.
Yeah, but if you aren't getting any heat on the quarterback,
look, I know
linebackers are going to get exposed anyway.
I know. It's pick your poison. It's pick your poison, and Matt Patricia has decided that he's picking a poison where he doesn't do a pass rush on man defense, and hope that somebody on the defensive line, like Trey Flowers or somebody, will be able to pick it up and give some pressure. But it's not happening.
For those that are not watching, they're just listening to the show. As you're saying those things, Sam's shaking his head. He's starting to, yeah, Sam, it's not looking very good. But I want to also call you out, Sam, because here you are all show. You do this every Sunday. You shout out every Michigan guy that comes up. And I have not heard you once say a shout out to Jared Wilson yet. He even had an interception last week.
Yeah, Akron Bucktu. doing his thing down there. Kind of holding it down for the defense. So I give Jared a lot of love. He actually announced his commitment over in the old scout.com days with us. So I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, he's anchored defense, Steve, that has given up 33, 31, 33, and 30 points in their last 4 games. So are we expecting a lot of scoring because there's bad defense? Are we expecting just an ugly-looking football game? I'm not sure exactly how to take what we're seeing with these 2 different teams, 2 not very good football teams, and they're going to meet out on the field. What do you actually think it's going to look like?
I think it is going to be a lot of scoring. Add to the fact, Ira, that Jacksonville may be without 4 starters on defense in this game against the Detroit Lions. 4 starters. And the ones that are out there playing aren't doing a great job to begin with. One Jacksonville writer wants to see rookie Josiah Scott get an opportunity at corner. He just recently, played ball at Michigan State. Another guy, Sidney Jones, had 4 pass breakups and an interception last week against Houston, and he's a reserve player. So maybe he gets an opportunity to start a little bit as well. You have 4 defensive starters on a bad defense that's going to be out in this one. Yeah, I expect to see fireworks in this one as long as, the Lions offense can be able to keep up.
Deshaun Watson has been struggling. Can we all agree? He had over 350 yards last week against the defense. Darren Fells looked like Gronkowski against this defense. If you're looking around about a guy who, other than Kenny Golladay, could emerge as a big time threat in today's game, have a big game, TJ Hawkinson. Look at him, because I watched Darren Fells run through their defense, and it was just a shotgun, no play action. He just ran down the middle of the field and no one was there. This is the kind of defense that you see the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So again, bad on both sides. It'll be a high scoring affair. A lot of ineptitude on the play. Unfortunately, I just think our guy is more inept.
I'll tell you another aspect to look at is Jacksonville's kicking game. Quite a chance that today Jacksonville's going to start their 5th different place kicker. 5th. All right. So not only are their kickers have been injured, but their replacements, how about this, guys? They missed a 24-yard field goal last week. And then they also had a 49-yarder come up short. This is the NFL. People are kicking for 55 yards on a routine, regular basis, not even thinking about the lack of field position they would have if they were to miss. And now you've got a place kicker who can't kick long enough for 49 yards, and another one who hooks a 24-yarder. They got issues. They got issues at kicking, that's for sure.
If it comes down to field goal, special teams, that kind of thing, yeah, the Lions definitely have an advantage when it comes to special teams units, and can't always give the Lions an edge in a lot of categories going week to week, but they are playing the Jags this week. So we're going to get back to the matchup later on in the show, as you guys will pick who you think will win in the game. But coming up next, we're going to play some true false. We're going to do some over-under. We're going to have some fun with my guys, Sam Webb and Steve Clarke, on the other side of the break as we continue with the Sunday countdown to kickoff, the final Sunday countdown to kickoff, as we shift our gears next week to Saturday, where we belong. But coming up next, some true false, some over under and more here on the Sunday countdown to kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV.
Sorry about that. I was hungry.
That is an injured lion. That's
a fitting drop it.
Good morning, Ben. How are you doing this morning? Hope you're doing well.
Yes, sir. It is finally game week.
It is game week.
I got to tell you, I'm looking over my shoulder every once in a while because of the fun we've had this weekend. I expect to be punked at any moment. Don't know what's going to happen.
Really? With some people that you met on vacation?
With the people that I'm with, yes.
I gotcha.
They
and his undisclosed location.
At his undisclosed location.
There's a golf cart just went by you, so you better watch out for the golf cart.
Have you been golfing, Steve?
I have not golfed this weekend. No, I did. I did pitch and putt. I did nighttime pitch and putt.
You know what I just noticed? I see that I see a sand trap kind of over your left shoulder. You know what that means? Yeah. You're on a golf. You could not do that broadcast if Sam was playing that course. You'd be in danger zone.
Well, that or you'd have to get your swim trunks. That's all.
That is true.
We did that. We've had a couple of pushes in the pool. So I'm trying to sit on the most expensive chair they got. And hold on to it tight.
But you make yourself safe.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
If I'm being pushed in, this chair's going in with me.
That's cool. You had some downtime, man.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's nice. Heading back.
Now we have 9 straight weeks of Saturday work. Looking
heading
forward to
back
it.
heading back in 3 hours, I think.
I don't know about 9 straight weeks, Ira.
Well, we can hope.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic that we'll have 9 straight Saturdays of games to cover. I'm optimistic. I don't have a lot of faith in everybody else around the Big Ten, but I'm trying to remain as optimistic as possible.
You know what I have faith in? I have faith in the precautions that I take. And so I flew down to Florida to take in a game on Delta because Delta does not play. They do not play. So I flew Bryce down to Alabama. And man, there were 2 flights that I was looking at. And one for American had a flight for like $180 cheaper. And I checked Americans, their situation. They sell all their middle seats, man. I was like, damn it, I'm not gonna put my guy on a flight that I wouldn't get on. So I put him on the Delta flight. And Bryce realized why, because they were in Atlanta and there was a lady on the plane so she got on the plane with her mask, took it off when she got on the plane. They said, man, you don't put that mask back on, you're getting off this plane. She said, okay. After she hemmed and hawed, she said, okay, put the mask on, but wouldn't cover her nose.
Oh, jeez.
Said, get your ass off this plane. Get your ass off this plane. The captain came out, said, lady, you got to go. And so love that. And then when I went to when I go to the actual games, I wear like the eye shields. I don't have anything around it along with the mask. And the game I went to had no fans. It was actually in Fort Lauderdale. I was just amazed.
Wow, I thought you'd have that you were going to see fans at a game.
There were no fans, zero fans. And there were 2 levels of security at the game that I went to. There was a security at the gate, a police officer at the parking lot gate. And are you on the list? Yeah, I'm on the list, man. All right. And then there was another police officer at the gate to get in the stadium. He said, are you on the list? Yes, I'm on the list, damn it.
Stand by, guys.
That's good, though. That's good security.
Delta's CEO Ed Bastian said there's been millions of people on flights and only 41 have come down with COVID. So hopefully that'll make you feel a little more confident.
All right, gentlemen, back live on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050, WTK The Ticket, and on Ticket TV. Ira Weintraub, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke. You can listen to us, of course, on the radio or on TuneIn app or on WTK.com or on the Ticket 1050 app. You can also watch us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on WTK.com/countdown as well. If you go there to WTK.com/countdown, you can enter for a chance to win a full car detail from our friends at Brighton Ford. So, guys, we're going to start this segment playing a little true false. And Sam kind of alluded to this one earlier, or maybe it was Steve actually alluded to this one earlier. But true or false? People in the media should stop burying Brady and Breeze when they struggle early in games, because it seems like every game now they have a struggle in the first quarter, maybe even in the second quarter, and they go, oh, they're done. And then what do? They win in the fourth quarter or in overtime. So true or false? People in the media should stop burying Brady and Breeze when they struggle early in games, Sam Webb.
True, especially when it comes to Drew Brees, man. I see this. I think we started to see a little more with Tom Brady after what they were calling a senior moment. I just call it. And when I say they, I'm talking about Miz and Steve trying to take a shot at my man TB12, Miz because he's a Saints guy, Steve because he hates former Michigan players. But when I look at Drew Brees especially, I mean, that was one of the things heading into the year, that Drew Brees is not going to be what Drew Brees was. And everything since then, every piece of commentary we've seen since then, in my opinion, has been centered around kind of fitting that narrative, when I think he's bucked it. I look back at the game against the Packers, and I made this point on the show, Drew Brees didn't get outplayed in that game. And I think under the circumstances, when you're without arguably the number one receiver in football, he's acquitted himself quite well. He may not be the Drew Brees of 4 or 5 years ago, but he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the game. So true, Ira, true.
Look, I understand the complaint. I got caught up during one of these debates last week reading about Drew Brees and his demise. And this past week, we've been reading about the demise of Phillip Rivers. But in both stories that I looked at, both the writers were not citing evidence from 2020. They were going back to 2019 as well, using 2020. So I understand their point as well. The other thing I learned, though, a long time ago was that if you keep bashing a player as being overrated, one of these days, eventually you'll be right. I mean, there was a national guy who banged the drum on how bad Tim Tebow was, and every week the Denver Broncos kept winning. And Tebow would make some play to extend the winning streak that got him into the playoffs. And the anchor just kept pounding his fist about how bad he was. Well, for Tim Tebow, it was only about a season before he was proven right. There could be a guy who's been bashing Tom Brady since 1999. Sometime that guy is eventually going to be right. But Tom Brady, a couple weeks ago, threw for 369 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was just 2 weeks ago. Only 13 times has a player 40 or over thrown for over 300 yards, and 11 of those games belong to Tom Brady. Can I have one more, Tom? Brady has thrown 36 touchdown passes since his 42nd birthday. 36. The other 6 who have done it have combined for 29. TB12 is the oldest active player in the NFL. So this type of stuff about his demise is just going to keep happening until the writer can eventually say, told you so, I was right.
Right. I mean, and then you got to make the relative assessment, right? It gets back to what Aaron Rodgers said. You know, a down year for me is a great year for average guys, right? Maybe I've declined. Maybe there's been a decline from what I was, but is it still good enough to take us on a run? And the answer in both cases in this question, talking about Drew Brees and Tom Brady, in my opinion, is true. Ira, yes, they're still good enough. So I guess it really, how do you frame the question? Are they less than what they were? Is there a decline from what they were in their prime? If you're asking me that question, that's yes, there's been a decline. But are we talking about a decline to the point where they can't lead their team to a championship run? At least. And I think that is false. I don't think they've declined that much.
I think what people are seeing, what they have seen with Joe Montana and Brett Favre, and see how quickly they come off the mountaintop. I mean, it's just like they took a free fall without a parachute. And because of those two players, I think some are expecting to see the same thing happen to Brees, Brady, and I'm going to throw Phillip Rivers in there now because he's this week's target.
I'm just sitting here marveling at how many times Sam keeps quoting Aaron Rodgers. You must be a huge fan. All right, Steve Clarke, I'll throw this true false at you. Le'Veon Bell gambled on himself and lost financially, but he failed forward in finding his team for 2020.
False. He's playing for the Chiefs for the same salary he was playing with the Jets. Might get more in bonuses. Absolutely false. He's better off being in a Chiefs uniform. He can gamble on free agency again next year.
See, but I'm going to go. I know where Ira is going with this. He sat out a season. He left money on the table. He left guaranteed money on the table. And, you know, the idea was that he was going to be able to make it up. He did sign a longer contract with the Jets, and the Jets are paying that salary this year. But will he ever get the amount of money that he would have gotten had he taken that Steelers deal when they offered it to him and he opted to sit out? I don't think so, Ira. I don't think he'll ever make that much money. He still gets his Jets money for this season, the guaranteed amount, and that's great. And he's falling forward, to your point. He's falling up the stairs, going from the worst team in the league to the best team in the league and playing at that salary. But if we're talking about overall money in the grand scheme of things, I think he will have lost by betting on himself because I don't think he'll ever make as much money as he would have made had he stayed in that accepted that Pittsburgh deal.
All right, another true false for you guys. And this actually is Steve, you mentioned something earlier in the show about how when Washington and the Giants would play each other, those were the games that people used to watch in the 90s. And that was so here's your next true false that brings that into play. We'll start with you, Sam, on this one. The NFC East is the worst division in the NFL in at least 10 years.
And at least 10 years, considering the depravity of what they call football in New Jersey right now. I actually, I feel like I need to go back and look at divisions over the last few years in order to feel totally confident about it. But I'm going to say true because I know it's up there. I know it's up there, Ira, when you consider, I'm going to say, matter of fact, with how bad the Eagles are compared to what I thought they were going to be, absolutely. It is the worst. They're questioning whether they need to move on from Carson Wentz. Understand that. They let a Super Bowl quarterback go because this is their high draft pick guy. And now, just a few short years later, they're wondering, can he do it? Is it time to purge? Washington spent the first round draft pick on a quarterback last year, and they were already done with that guy. And then you look at the Jets and the Giants, you look at their quarterback situation, they spent high draft picks on quarterbacks, and they're questioning their futures too. Yeah, it's the worst in my memory. The worst division, you said, in the last few years, worst in my memory when you consider how badly all those teams are doing right now. And I know the Jets aren't in that division, but still, the Cowboys looking pretty bad right now too with no Dak, and they were playing no defense before that. So bad football in New Jersey, which the Giants are a part of. The Eagles questioning whether or not their quarterback is already washed up. The Washington football team, no, they got the wrong Ohio State quarterback. They should have gone for a year later for Joe Burrow. And then the Cowboys, they play no defense, worse in years.
So the answer to this is actually maybe true. It's maybe true, and I'll tell you why. 10 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks became the only NFL team to win their division with a losing record at 7-9. That NFC West team 10 years ago had 25 wins as a division last year. Last year's NFC East, which was also abominable or abdominal,
abominable,
won just 24 games last year. 24.
It was abominable. Is that what you said?
Something like that.
It was an abomination.
It was abomination. There you go.
Thank you. This year's NFC East has 5 wins. 5 wins so far. They do have 10 automatic divisional games left. So they can't do any less than 15. Okay? But those are your standards. The NFC West from 10 years ago with 25 wins and a team that won the division being sub 500 against last year's NFC East and against this year's NFC East. By the way, as a contrast, guys, the things how they go high and low. In 2016, the NFC East had 39 wins in their division. Again, so far, the East has 5.
I knew Steve would bring some numbers to back this up. It's a terrible division. We call those the friends and family games because only friends and family will actually watch those games. All right, one more true false for you, fellas, before we move on to over under. True false, Steve Clarke. The Tennessee Titans have now proved that official game week practices are overrated.
It's true. By the way, the pool boy is socially distant and wearing a mask. You need anything? We'll talk about it later.
So, Steve Clarke, to you, true false.
No, sorry.
Yeah, true or false? The Tennessee Titans prove that their official game week practices, or in general game week practices, are now should be considered overrated.
Well, it depends on where you're practicing, I guess, whether it's in high school or your regular facility. But I'm going to stay true, not only because of Tennessee, but because of Minnesota a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they had their practice facilities closed as well. They went and played a winless Houston team out there in Houston, went on the road, had that extra added factor. Houston didn't have any, shutdowns with their facility. Minnesota had it all week. They go down the road and they kick Houston's butt. So, I mean, you take between those two teams, it's about talent. Coaching's overrated.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think coaching is overrated. I think that what do you classify as game week prep? Because clearly the Tennessee Titans were doing work in their off time. We just talking about the part that is out there where the high school said, yeah, hey, the Tennessee Titans, they were over here practicing when they were supposed to be practicing when their facility was shut down. What else were they doing, guys? Was that the only day that they practiced together? Come on. Do we really believe that? That's just the time they got caught. So I'm going to say official practices are overrated. I don't necessarily think game week preparation is overrated, but official preparation for game week practices is overrated. Or for the official game week practices are overrated in preparation for games.
All right, guys, a little over-under as we continue here on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, The Ticket, and on Ticket TV. We did address this one a little bit earlier in the show briefly as well, but I moved the number big time, Sam. I went from 6 to 20. 20 NFL games will be moved, postponed, whatever you want to call it, due to COVID-19. Well, I think we're already approaching that number, aren't we?
Going with the over, man. Going with the over. We saw a bunch of games get moved last week. One thing we are seeing is teams move forward despite COVID cases, but I just think that we're seeing examples that with the travel and with the spiking nationally, your environment can only be so contained if you're going to move around. And because you see a national spike, I think for the first time in months, there were 60,000 new cases in a day. And so we see this uptick, and they aren't sort of cordoned off from that. They aren't in a bubble. They're going to airports and staying in hotels. And I don't care what level of precaution you take. If you aren't in a contained environment, you are going to have some level of exposure. And because of that, Ira, I think we're destined to see more games be postponed. It's going to be over 20 before all is said and done. More games moved or postponed or canceled.
Most definitely. I think you can play with 4 days rest. And that means you can play as late as Wednesday in the middle of a week if somebody gets COVID on a Friday or a Saturday. You take the 2 days off, you get things back together, you allow for travel. I think they can play in the middle of the week, then they can come right back and play again on Monday. So I think the schedule is just completely thrown up in the air. And, you may be preparing for one team in the middle of the week, and all of a sudden you're being told you're playing somebody else 5 days later, and you're just going to have to roll with it. But I think it's going to be above that 20 figure as well.
All right, guys, over under. Steve Clarke, Gardner Minshew will pass for 225 yards, over or under?
Minshew's averaging 268. The Lions give up 235. Both numbers are above 225. True.
All right, we're going to flip the other way, Sam. Matthew Stafford will pass for at least 275. Oh, pass for 275, over or under on the 275 mark for Matthew Stafford.
Over under 275. I'm going to go with over 275 after watching what Deshaun Watson was able to do last week, throwing for about 350. So I'm going to go with the over on that.
False. Jaguars average giving up 280 on defense. The Lions are passing for only 232 per game. Both those numbers are below the number. I'm going false on that one.
So you're saying he's going to go below 275. What about the running game for Jacksonville, Steve Clarke? James Robinson will rush for 100 yards, over or under?
False. They don't use him enough. Had 102 yards once. The next closest rushing attack was 75. Not going to happen today for him.
Yeah, it depends. If you ask me, is he going to average is he going to average 5 yards a carry? I'll give you that. But he does not get enough. He does not get enough of the. He doesn't get enough of the touches, enough opportunities to really think that he's going to be able to get that many yards. But 5 yards a carry for sure. I'm going for that because the Lions they just cannot. They can't do anything with competence on defense other than go out there and execute Matt Patricia's plan and look horrible doing it. And they can go out there and play man defense and not blitz, and you see the results.
All right, here's another one. This one for you, Sam. Well, first, the Lions will rush for 125 yards as a team, over or under?
They will not. They will not rush for 125 yards as a team. Wait a minute.
You're thinking that over, aren't you?
Thinking that over. Yes, they will. 125 they'll get. They'll get 125 against this defense. So over that.
I'm going to ask the pool boy for this one. Se presión los Leones. 125 yardas.
Well, they're giving up 136.
Yardes, Steve?
Yeah, they're giving up 136. So it's
Yardas.
a safe bet.
Yardes, that's the translation.
Hold
Are you
on.
sure?
Hold on. Okay, yeah. The Lions, they rush for 102. Jack gives 136. The pool boy says, be positive. True. Lions rush for over 25.
For over 125. All right. And then the last one, we'll start with you. Because the over-under, I grabbed this one this morning from William Hill. The over-under on the game for the number is 54.5. You guys were talking a lot about how many points you think are going to be scored in the game. We're going to get your pick on the game as far as who wins and loses coming up in the next segment. But the over-under from William Hill is 54.5. Steve Clarke, do you think it'll be over or under the 54.5?
Por encima. That's Spanish for over.
Yeah, I'm going with the over as well. You look at the games, for both of these teams, they just play no defense. And in a no defense game with a couple of quarterbacks that can, even Gardner Minshew can put up some yards against this team. You still got Matthew Stafford on this side. Kenny Galladay, another week of rest. You feel like he'll be fresher. It'll be over the 54.
All right, guys, that is our true, false, and over-under segment here on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. On the other side, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to talk about key matchups in the game, what Sam and Steve think they're going to see out there on the field, and they're going to give you their game picks. Madison Raleigh will join us for her pick for the game as well. So we're going to get to that as we wrap up the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on the other side of the break here on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and on Ticket TV.
Clear. Steve,
All right,
did you?
I'll stop speaking Spanish now.
I was gonna say, did you order a Zima?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sun's coming over the house. I think I'm gonna lean in.
No more lounging. No more lounging, I guess.
Abominable.
I can't say it. I can't say that word. Abdominable.
Abdominal, as in
Audible.
abdominal pain, like the NFC least.
Yeah. Abominable. Did I say that right?
We're in Michigan. Yeah, probably. Hi, potato.
Fido.
This is Samson, actually.
Samson.
AKA russet potato.
Yeah.
You have another dog named Delilah?
No.
Yeah,
Hey,
don't cut his hair.
Sam, your mic is disconnected. That's why I can't hear you.
Oops. Yep.
I tried to unmute him and it won't let me do it.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Talking to myself.
I think about it that way.
I do that all the time, most of the time.
They want to know what you're drinking on, Steve.
What am I tripping on?
Drinking.
Yeah, what you tripping on?
Drinking on.
Well, last night that was a crack in the sidewalk, stone in the golf course, and a couple of cornhole bean bags I tripped over.
Steve order a Zima. Do they still sell Zima? Is that still like a drink you can buy?
They rebooted it.
They did.
They
Ask
brought
Liz.
it back. Yeah.
Why?
That's a good question.
For all of us who were nostalgic.
That is also true.
Look, we're in this 80s deal where every retro thing is about the 80s. Very soon it's going to be the 90s. And that's why you've got like the Zima and everything else. It's going to be.
This has his Zubas mask because the late 80s, early 90s are back.
I was going to say, wait, if the 90s are coming back, does that mean Surge is going to come back again too?
Didn't that already make a comeback too?
Yeah, but maybe it'll make another comeback. Nice.
90210 came back. I'm just telling you, there's a shift. We got rid of the 70s. All the 70s nostalgia is done.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of the 80s nostalgia period right now, and pretty soon it's going to be the 90s. And when we get to that point, I won't care. I won't be watching anything anymore at that point. Why are you making remakes of bad things I never wanted to see to begin with?
All right, guys, we're back in 10 seconds. Stand by.
All right.
You going?
Just stand under your camera.
I'm waiting to be punked. It's happening.
All right, guys, wrapping it up on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the final Sunday countdown of the season. No, it's not the final Sunday of the Lions season, but myself, Sam Webb, and Steve Clarke, we belong on Saturdays, and we will return to Saturdays next week. The Saturday countdown to kickoff returns 3:30 next Saturday in 6 days as we get you ready for the battle for the Little Brown Jug. And we're talking Michigan, Minnesota, Big Ten football, and more as Big Ten football returns next weekend. I know we all cannot wait for that. And our cohort that's joining us now, Madison Rally, will be very busy that Saturday at noon watching the debut of the Greg Schiano era and as they take on Michigan State. So we'll get her full report on that one coming up the following week as well. But here we are in the final Sunday.
Don't they have to win that game? They got to beat Rutgers, don't they?
They don't have to do anything though, Sam. So here we are, last Sunday countdown to kickoff. The Lions are down there in the Sunshine State, and it's typical Florida weather. There's a slight chance of rain, then it goes away, and then it comes back in. So we're hoping that the rain does not hit and impact the Lions game today, but it potentially could maybe in like the third, fourth quarter window. So keep your eye on that as you are watching the game. But here we are, guys. All right, what are you watching for in the game, Steve Clarke?
Watching the Lions' explosion on an offensive tag. Jacksonville playing a lot like Lions defense that we have seen throughout the years. There always seems to be something going on. They correct it, something new comes up. That's what Jacksonville has a problem with every week. Pass rush. Lions' offensive line should have plenty of time to be able for Matt Stafford to pass the ball around the field. Should be able to offer running holes for Adrian Peterson, Swift, and Kerryon Johnson. There's a particular guy the Lions could pick on if he decides to be still in the game. A guy named Trey Herndon seems to be a guy that the Lions could pick on in the secondary. Jacksonville fans are sick of him. They want some new guys in there, including Josiah Scott, the Michigan State rookie, to start playing in his place. I'm expecting fireworks on both sides. I think Gardner Minshew is going to be able to throw the ball down the field against this weak line secondary. And back seven, let's throw them in too.
All right, Sam, what do you think it's going to look like out on the field? We'll get your game pick shortly, but what do you think it's going to look like out there on the field?
Yeah, high scoring, high power, high octane affair because neither team plays much defense. And I look back at last week against the Houston Texans, and just to see the guys running wide open in the secondary, to Steve's point, No pass rush. Ordinarily, I'd be worried about what they're saying about Frank Ragnow potentially not playing in this game. I don't know if we have a pregame update on that, but they're talking about bringing Joe Dahl off the injured list. He's active for today and making him the starting center after he's been on the shelf. Ordinarily, that would be problematic in this game. Not so much. And you should have a big game for TJ Hawkinson today, but an even bigger game for Kenny Golladay. I mean, remember, guys, he's just getting his legs under him. It's been a process of him being what he was last year, but he's going to show. He's going to show what Teddy KGB said. You got to pay that man his money, Miz. You got to pay him his money. He's going to earn it. There's some talk that it might be on the verge of happening. If they can do one thing for the Lions on their way out the door, and I'm talking about Quinn and Patricia, get Kenny Golladay signed up, pay that man his money.
So, Sam, is this kind of like your worst matchup, though, for a game? Because this is a game the Lions can win and you want them to lose? Or would you rather play the teams that you're around in the standings, that if they actually do beat your team, that it actually, helps solidify where they are in the standings?
I see where you're going with that, but I have no concern about the Lions winning this game. The kinds of games that the Lions win are like the one that they won against the Cardinals. Like, they aren't supposed to win that game. This one is more of a toss-up. This is both teams are pretty bad. These are the kinds of games that the Lions always lose.
All right, well, the Lions are 3-point favorites on the road in Jacksonville, so the Jaguars are getting 3 points at home. Steve Clarke, who do you have? Detroit, Jacksonville. What's your pick?
Taking a look at the injury report right now, guys. Desmond Trufant is out for this one with a hamstring.
That's actually good.
Frank Ragnow is still listed as questionable going into this. Look, the Jacksonville Jaguars, their power rank is 30, 31. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think the Lions are bottom 10, but they're not near 30. And I think the Lions win this game on the road. They even cover the spread on this one. I'm going to make it 35-31.
All right, Sam Webb.
I'm not picking the Lions in any game the rest of the season. I think Jacksonville is going to win this game, but you're asking me, will they win it by 4 points? I look at the game that they won in week 1. It took a near perfect performance by Gardner Minshew to win by that margin. So I'm actually going to take you're giving the Jacksonville Jaguars 3 points, Ira, is that right?
Yes, the Jaguars are getting 3 points at home.
Jaguars are getting 3 points. Give me the Jags.
This where Sam learns how spreads work?
Give me the Jags in this game.
I'm coaching him through it, Madison, yes. What say you, Madison? The Lions at the Jaguars. Jaguars getting 3 points at home.
I say Sam is totally wrong. I think this is where the Lions this is where they make their comeback. They rebound now. They've got good games coming up, and I'm never going to pick against the Lions, just like Sam's never going to pick the Lions. So I'm going to pick the Lions.
We appreciate, Madison, your contributions on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff through this first part of the season. We are looking forward to our shifting over to the Saturday Countdown. Hey, guys, it's game week. I know it's a Lions show. The Lions kick off in a little over 2 hours, but it is officially game week in Ann Arbor, and that, I think, is what has people in this part of the area very, very excited. Even Madison's puppy. Everyone's excited that it's game week. How excited are you, Steve Clarke, that it's game week?
Thrilled. Okay, it's hard to put it into words, and you're opening up to going for the jug to start for the season. And it's cross division. Whoever wins this game is going to have the jug for a couple of extra years, and Michigan's going to be ready. And yet they're going to be an underdog in this one. And how is the Wolverines going to respond? How is Minnesota going to respond as a favorite? There's so many stories, so many different lines. What's Joe Milton going to do?
Joe Milton going to do?
I mean, that is obviously the biggest on the offense. And, wow, let's just start another 2 hours right now, Sam.
I hear you. Look, man, Joe Milton is making unbelievable plays in practice, but we see the difference on a yearly basis between State Street and Main Street. And so will it translate? I think it will eventually. I just don't know that it will immediately. And therein lies kind of the, some of the excitement and some of the intrigue heading into the first game is how quickly can they look in games like they look in practice.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a lot of fun here in the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. Thanks to Sam Webb, Steve Clarke, Madison Raleigh, and our guy Miz back inside the MDen studios. We will see everybody Monday morning, tomorrow morning with the Michigan Insider. We'll also see Steve Clarke on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And before we go,
thank you, Ira. I want to wish a happy anniversary to my wife. 18 years of just being together and having the best times of our lives. Thank you so much, Ira, for letting me get that in before I get sent to the doghouse.
All right, congratulations to her for putting up with you for that long.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Wednesday at the midweek peak, and we'll see everybody 3:30 Saturday for the return of the Saturday Countdown to Kickoff. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA Ann Arbor, a Cumulus station.